Friedman Adventures, dear friend Bill Boyce invited some folks from Seattle, Washington, dear friends of his, to come down and experience the bite in the Bahia de Los Angeles, the Bay of LA, and they were greeted with outstanding yellowtail action and great grouper fishing to go along with it. Bill Boyce lives in the Bay of LA, and he says it is just so full of life. Besides the great fishing, they saw humpback whales, they saw sea turtles, they saw manta rays, they even had a great white shark swim right at the boat. What an extraordinary trip, and what a great report from our friend Bill Boyce down in the Bay of LA, where the yellow bite is on.
Oh, cool. Here's a great white coming straight at us. It's got a tag on it. Look at this beautiful animal. Wow, how cool. So cool. Here's a great white coming straight at us. It's got a tag on it. Look at this beautiful animal. Wow, how cool is that?
That is the voice of Bill Boyce, great friend of Friedman Adventures down in the Bay of LA, the Bahia de Los Angeles, where Bill lives. And what a sight that was to have that 10-foot great white shark swimming right at them. You know, great white sharks can smell blood from 3 miles away. They grow to 20 feet and over 4,000 pounds. They are fast, 35 miles an hour, and they live to over 70 years old. And they have a warm-blooded trait which regulates their body temperature. They migrate in some cases over 12,000 miles across oceans. They're not all that common to see in the Bay of LA, but Bill Boyce, and I highly recommend you follow Bill, got a rare opportunity to check that thing out. That is awesome.
Oh, how cool is that?
Mighty yellowtail are adept at running you back into a rock or trying to saw you off on kelp. That's just what this yellowtail did on the El Patron. So the angler handed the fish off to Captain Chris Isaac, who made quick work of it and was able to pass the rod back to the angler and allow him to get back into the stern. But yet another obstacle. As they looked out, they could see that the fish was wrapped in kelp. Wrapped up so much that Chris Isaac, the captain, couldn't see the fish. So he had the other deckhand on board gaff the kelp, give him a view of that yellowtail, and then he stuck the gaff in it and brought it on board. Happy angler on the El Patron. His fishing's been absolutely fantastic. Good yellowtail, calico bass, and so much more today.
Getting ready to go to Topper's Pizza with Scott Buchert. Here he is right here. Let's give him a little thrill. Ready? There you go. That's how we welcome Scott Buchert into the show. Scott, welcome. Did you have fun with that? Perfect. Here we go.
What?
What do you mean, what?
Please don't forget to support the Friedman Adventures family members who make this all possible, like the taxman, Tim Marquez, and your garage door man, Joe Welker, who does a great job and gets rave reviews here at Friedman Adventures. Heating and or air conditioning needs, it's our dear friend John Lopez, and also the Island Spirit, Ventura Sport Fishing. You can't beat it. Chris Isaac and the El Patron out of Long Beach Sport Fishing, www.longbeachsportfishing.org. Good Monday morning, everybody, and welcome to beautiful Surfside, California, where we are getting ready for an action-packed morning briefing. My God almighty, fishing is fantastic. We're going to check in on our Bluefin Tuna bite. I know the Pacific Voyager had a 2-hour drift last night that was absolutely incredible. A lot of big Bluefin Tuna, but did it bite for the entire fleet? We'll go to Mexico and check that out. And as I told you yesterday, the Southern California bass bite is off the hook. Man, oh man, you take a look at the stern of the Native Son here, and I'll show it to you in a little bit. Man, they were just putting the wood to the sand bass, and we're seeing that up and down the coast. Catalina Island still showing significant life with some yellowtail around, and this water is nice and warm in the surf. Oh my goodness, that feels so good. And you just know the Corvina are climbing up and down the beach. There's been some really good surf fishing. White sea bass fishing is absolutely incredible. It can't get much better. We've got all of that and more. You know what time it is. It is time for the morning briefing. Good morning, my friends. Oh my God, is that good? I might have to do that one more time with you this morning. Why not, right? So good. If you don't mind, hit that like button. We deeply appreciate it when you do that, showing your support for the Freeman Adventures YouTube channel and everything else we're doing. Remember to subscribe here to the YouTube channel. If you tick that rotten, filthy, disgusting, despicable little bell, they'll notify you when there's new content. You can also follow us over there on Facebook, on Instagram, on TikTok, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify. And man, I'll tell you, I am so excited about what is going on. Just one observation here, blue perch returning to Catalina Island. Great sand bass fishing here in Southern California. Lots of anchovies. A big barracuda bite, I think, is imminent here. What's the only thing we're missing? Long fin tuna, albacore. Could this be the year? Are we going to see some fireworks in addition to the normal fireworks around July 4th in the form of albacore? I'm starting to think we're going to see some fish here in Southern California, but I say that every year, don't I? And I'm always wrong. So let's hope it's finally going to show up. Let's get into it with you. So much to talk about. We'll start with long range because the 8-day trips that leave out of San Diego have been phenomenal, and they continue to produce just outstanding fishing. Yellowfin tuna bite has been spectacular for all the guys who are on those 8-day trips. And then they'll turn their attention, or vice versa, to the yellowtail. And the yellowtail bite down that way has been absolutely off the hook. Some of the guys on the way home will venture in on the Baja coast and they'll catch sand bass, calico bass, barracuda, halibut, white sea bass. It has been really, really great fishing, and it is continuing that way for all the boys who are down there on those 8-day trips. If you are watching us from some part of the world and this is new to you, an 8-day fishing trip, the accommodations are great. The food is fantastic. The fishing is outstanding. And you can literally walk on one of the long-range boats in San Diego as a novice angler and catch a ton of fish because the crews are so darn good. You'll enjoy it, and I hope you get a chance to do it here very, very soon. Let's turn our attention to Mexico. Down there at Cedros, the yellowtail bite has not been as good as we've seen it in past years. It's still really good, though. There's a lot of yellows down there, but we continue to see some good sea bass and halibut being taken down there. We reported on that to you recently, and we continue to see that trend. And what the heck, I ask you, is wrong with that? Yellows, white sea bass, halibut, and wide open calico bass fishing, just to name some of the species they're catching at Cedros right now. Down in Ensenada, only 70 miles below the border, we continue to see outstanding rock fishing. That is there for everybody. But Louis Prieto was out yesterday. He took a novice angler out at It's For Reals Sport Fishing. Louis down there in Ensenada, got a beautiful rig. He'll take you fishing. He trolled around and caught up a bunch of nice barracuda. Had a really fun day. The calico and sand bass bite continues to impress down there in Ensenada. We haven't seen the yellowtail bite that we've all thought would explode by now. Hopefully it'll be soon with water temperatures pushing 70 degrees inside the bay right now. You'd think that is going to break loose at any point in time. We're hoping that is indeed the case down there in Popotla, which is a 15-minute drive south of Rosarito Beach. You can get to Rosarito Beach by crossing the border and driving 40 minutes. Not even. I don't even think it's that long. And then just a little further, you're in Popotla, where Carlos Cortez runs Cortez Sport Fishing. Carlos with some great rock fishing here recently. So down in Ensenada, we continue to see really good stuff. I like that barracuda that Louis is on because I just feel like that's the next thing to drop here in Southern California. When I'm pointing out here for all of you, Huntington Beach just down this way, Long Beach just up this way, beyond that, San Pedro, California. It's really phenomenal. Newport Beach down this way, they've had some great local fishing. I'm going to get into that and more with you here in a moment. Let me also get you caught up on our bluefin tuna, but the weather has come down. It is much better right now, and that is a big bonus because it was nasty there for a few days. Now with the good weather, some of the guys got on some fish. The XL has been having some really, really good fishing. And Max Nui and the Pacific Voyager last night got in to a 2-hour drift on the bluefin tuna where it was really as good as you could possibly want it, especially when you factor in the grade of fish. A lot of these fish are up over the 100-pound mark. In fact, Max ended up with 31 bluefin tuna, about 2/3 of those fish exceeding 100 pounds. I'm never going to get used to that. That is just as good as it gets. Looking at many of the other boats, I saw a lot of scores in the 0 to 10 range, so there were definitely some misses last night. We haven't gotten back into that full-speed bluefin tuna bite quite yet, but man, a few of the guys with some really good scores. Weather is starting to cooperate. Things are looking much better to me, and hopefully it's going to get going. But as I mentioned to you, there was quite a few misses last night in addition. So we'll continue to watch out for you very closely. 80-pound spectra, and right now you can get back to eddy bombs were really effective during that really windy and rough weather to get you down fast. But now back to that 240, 300 gram kind of jig seems to be working best of all. I would definitely have some eddy bombs depending on wind and current. Those can be super effective in this kind of bite. Let's talk about our islands down at the Coronado Islands, picking a few yellowtail. That's been really the majority of what we're catching down there. The San Diego yesterday had a beautiful C4 sport fishing, had a white sea bass, 25 calico bass, 160 whitefish. As we start to move north, we start to see even better and better action. The Fibbers Christian Fishing Club. I love all of you. You guys are awesome. You make this world of ours a better place. They were out on the Fury, and they had just an outstanding trip. In fact, Rob Whitaker with a 40-pound yellowtail. That is one big yellow, no question about that. They had a lot of other smaller yellowtail to go along with it, some barracuda and calico bass, and of course they just had a wonderful time together because that's what the Fibbers Christian Fishing Club is all about. Making the world a better place, having fun, enjoying the great outdoors, getting some vitamin D, all of those things that really improve your mental and physical state. I love it. Those folks are so darn good. Speaking of another great guy, Steve Bugman Duncan on the El Dorado. He was out with a bunch of friends. He said TJ, the captain, and the crew of the El Dorado out of Long Beach sport fishing did it again. 16 white sea bass, a yellowtail for them. They had an absolutely fun time. San Clemente Island's been producing some bigger yellows, so the Thunderbird also. So we've seen some of that big fish mixed in with the smaller grade. And I should mention to you that Max on the Pacific Voyager's already got yellows on the boat here this morning. So after a great night last night on the bluefin tuna, these guys don't stop working, man. He's into the yellows this morning, doing quite well. So we have an update for you here Monday morning. That yellowtail is biting again. Really great stuff. Taking a look at Catalina Island. The El Patron was there yesterday. You saw that lead in where Chris Isaac was trying to see that yellowtail in that kelp. Couldn't see it. Deckhand next to him. I think that was Axel. Gaffed that kelp, lifted it up. He could see it, and he put that yellow on the boat. They had a couple of yellowtail on board the El Patron. They run out of Long Beach sport fishing every single morning at 5 a.m. Their next trip, which is a go, is Wednesday. You can get on that trip by going to www.longbeachsportfishing.org. Scott Buchert was the deckhand on board there, and Scott did a really great job by all accounts. And Mad Dog Anthony shot that video, so I'm happy about that. And really some nice fishing, 2 yellows, quite a bit of bass to go along with it, a lot of short calico bass, but some legal ones also. Daphne was over on board the Gale Force, and we were so happy to get some reports from Daphne yesterday. She is a loyal Freedman Adventure family member. She does such a great job, and she was out there and said, hey, we had good bass fishing here Also, really good bass fishing. She said the vast majority of the calico bass were taken on that lighter fluorocarbon. I like 15, 20, even 25 would work. An anchovy, a little sliding egg sinker, that was the best way. But she said, you know what? I got a Colt Sniper here, just dying for a calico bass. Tossed it and caught a couple legals on a Colt Sniper. Nice going. 3 yellowtail on the pursuit out of beautiful San Pedro, California, 22nd Street. They had a nice hit there, so really good stuff. And now we go to the Channel Islands where the white sea bass bite is phenomenal. In fact, Gino Machino sent me a message just a moment ago on the Ranger 85, and it says like they are getting the sea bass big time here this morning. Yesterday was a phenomenal day for many, many boats, but on board the Aloha Spirit, young man by the name of Dax was out again with his dad. They fished that boat all the time, and they had such a special day as they ended up with 50 white sea bass on board the Aloha Spirit for only 20 anglers, a halibut. Dax got his personal best white sea bass, 40-pound big croaker. Nice fish, Dax. Way to go, young man. I'm so proud of you. And Dax, you know, he's been experiencing this kind of fishing now for a while. His dad takes him on these great trips all the time. Way to go, Dad. And he wanted to share it with a friend, so he brought his friend Cruz along yesterday. Another young man who's really not done all that much fishing before, and he got his first big white sea bass. What a way to introduce a kid to fishing. Way to go, Dax. Way to go, Cruz. Really fantastic on the Aloha Spirit yesterday. Gray light, 20 white sea bass for 6 anglers. The crew allowed them to get a few more in there, so you're allowed 3 white sea bass per rod, but with a couple of crew members, that's another 6, and they ended up with 20 white sea bass on that crazy trip. 1 yellowtail, 3 halibut, island tack, 8 guys, 8 white sea bass. Nice hit for them as this just gets better and better and better, and it sounds like, according to Gino on the Ranger 85, that it's biting again here Monday morning with these great updates for you here early, keeping you in touch with all the very latest Freedman adventures. By the way, the Apollo out of 22nd Street Landing, getting ready to go to San Diego and run out of Seaforth. They had 1 bluefin tuna, and they ended up with 14 white sea bass for a nice hit for them. We'll just keep going north now. Up there in Santa Barbara, mostly rockfish. They're going to get in on that sea bass bite here today. Mark my words, they are all over it when it's biting, and it's biting again. And part of the reason why we got off the bite up there just for a brief moment was the weather got snotty, but it's much nicer. Oh yeah, the great fishing yesterday on the Island Spirit out of Ventura. Tons of rockfish on board there, and they've got openings for you tomorrow and Wednesday and Thursday. Get on the Island Spirit. You want to go load up on the rockfish, and that's not all they do. They give it a good, honest, hard try on the sea bass and the halibut and the yellowtail and the barracuda and the bass, and then they'll turn their attention to the rockfish. Make sure you go home with a lot of great eating fish. 805-676-3474, or you can go to VenturaSportFishing.com. Continuing up the coast to Avila Beach, Morro Bay, great rock fishing up there. Same thing in Monterey with a lot of big lings continuing to bite up there. And San Francisco, many of the operators up there with limits of stripers. Again, I know lovely Martha's Sport Fishing, limits of stripers, and a lot of nice halibut to go along with it. That fishery up there in San Francisco is absolutely phenomenal. You should get on it one of these days really, really soon. Hey, let's check out our local fishing because it is as good as it gets. I told you that yesterday. I'm going to re-emphasize it today. Take a kid fishing. Take a neighbor fishing. Let's take Dax's lead here, taking Cruz for his sea bass. Let's take kids fishing. Let's get them out because this is as good a sand bass bite as we've seen in many, many years here in Southern California. And I'm thinking you're going to see the barracuda join this party perhaps today. Maybe today I'll be back with a special update. But for right now, down in San Diego, awesome calico bass fishing. Maybe some shorts in there, maybe quite a few shorts, but the action is phenomenal. There's plenty of legal fish also down there. Moving you up Oceanside, Dana Wharf, great calico bass fishing down there. And then we get into the Newport Beach area. The boats that are running up this way are finding tremendous sand bass fishing up here in this neck of the woods. It can't get much better than it is. The Western Pride, the Freelance, those guys all over the fish. The Victory with 200 sand bass. The Enterprise with about 200 sand bass. The Afternoon Monte Carlo, 22nd Street Landing, 160 sand bass. And the Native Sun has been all over the fish. 6 straight days of great fishing in the daytime and twilight. It can't get much better than it is right now. Some of the guys are catching them 2 at a time. It's so darn crazy when they drop a jig down. So it has been off the hook bass fishing. I'm telling you right now, it can't get any better than it is. It is absolutely phenomenal. Yesterday morning, by the way, I saw a lot of birds hitting the water here. I'm anticipating it here a little bit later. Surf fishing report coming up next. So once again, tremendous local bass fishing here up in the Santa Monica Bay. Mostly rockfish up there. Water's a little cooler. It seems like they'll get into it here shortly. Hopefully that's going to bite here very, very soon. A lot of rockfish. Most of the good bass fishing, I want to say, is from, San Pedro down south, and it's really good. But that's going to pick up, and there's even some bass up there in the Channel Islands that's pretty darn good. Man, this water is warm and clean, and I gotta think you're gonna see some Corvina finning up on the surface and feeding right here in the shallows is where the Corvina like to feed. So you don't even have to make a long cast at all. You can literally, in this water that I'm showing you right now, feel them bump up against your legs on many mornings. It is really phenomenal. Let's talk about this local surf fishing because it is definitely picking up. Noli Yan Jr. Can't find a better guy than Noli Yan Jr. He's a wonderful human being, and he loves to hit the surf. He was down there around Huntington Beach where they had phenomenal bar perch fishing. The fish are on the bite, biting the sand crabs. You can fish those grubs, those honey badger baits. Glenn, good morning to you. Work really, really well here in the Southern California surf. And I was looking at July 5th for our next surf fishing day. Let me know in comments down below if that works out for you. I might put that on the calendar day after the 4th. I don't know if that's an issue or it's perfect timing, but the tides are beautiful for that morning, and I got to think this fish is going to bite. So once again, good fishing down there around Huntington Beach. Jeff Perea, he's always out having a good time. He caught a bunch of bar perch. I think he had 8 bar perch and a 15-inch halibut. You got to love that. And you gotta love my son Philip, who's bringing his son and my grandson Bo, along with his lovely wife Jessica, down here to Surfside. And Bo is getting an introduction into fishing before he reaches 1 year of age. And I gotta love that, Philip. Way to go. Philip was down here yesterday, had a yellowfin croaker, a nice barred perch, saw a ton of life, throwing a lucky crab lure, just praying for that big halibut. Didn't get it yesterday, but he'll be at it again here on Saturday, and hopefully he's going to come up with some nice fish. Don't forget, if you need to get prepared for a day surf fishing, it's Big Fish Bait and Tackle right down there on the corner of Pacific Coast Highway and Seal Beach Boulevard. They're open early. You can get your bait, your tackle, whether it's surf fishing or fishing these big bluefin or yellows or white sea bass or anything else. Big Fish Bait and Tackle has it all for you. All right, my friends, I don't know what to tell you. Nice hit for Max last night on the Pacific Voyager. I like that hit. He got in on that fish, and hopefully we're going to see that get a little bit more consistent. But right now, this local Southern California bass bite is absolutely phenomenal. Really good stuff going on. Catalina with some more yellowtail and also some tremendous white sea bass fishing up in the Channel Islands. I don't know how that bite can get any better. Well, maybe we're about to find out. Early reports here this morning suggesting that not only the yellow's biting at Clemente, but we've got another big day of sea bass fishing occurring up there in the Channel Islands. We'll keep you all in touch with all the very latest. We'll have long form, beautiful podcasts coming up, 2 live shows. Today, the Danny Cadota Show, live from 22nd Street Landing at 4 p.m. and then 6 p.m. Tackle Shop Confessions with the one and only Sam De La Torre, live from Island Fishing Tackle in Carson, California. Can't wait to bring you those great shows. Thanks, everybody. Have a great one. Hit that like button, share these videos everywhere, and I hope to see you really, really soon.